My name is Sharon Quinn, and I'm also known as the original runway diva, and you are watching Model Behavior. Class is officially in session. My guest lecturer today is internationally acclaimed hairstylist Johnny O. Gentry. Johnny is an innovative pioneer and an industry trailblazer offering the best in styling, hair care, and trends for the millennium. Welcome to Model Behavior, Johnny Gentry. Hi, honey. How you doing? Welcome.
Well.
Thank you for coming. So you know what we do here. You've seen the show. You know it's all about teaching.
Absolutely.
And I know you've been doing your thing for, how long have you been doing
Since
it?
'91, I moved to New York.
You came here from
Atlanta, Georgia, and I got here kind of strange. I'm an accountant by nature. Got ready to get my master's in finance, and then I decided, you know what, that's boring. Got into hair school. Next thing you know, I was on my way to Paris in '88. Everything changed when I met these fabulous people. Patrick Kelly, Audrey Smalls, she invited us to a flat. Knew I had to do that hair real
And this
serious.
is, you went over to Paris and met all these people?
Went over to Paris. That's when I met Audrey from the beginning, but then that was my opening to New York. And then by me being an accountant or dealing with numbers, right side of the mind kind of thinker.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into this hair thing, it just blew my mind and made me start thinking with that left side. Everything was analytical, logical with accounting for me. In hair, it's more about saying you got to think outside the box. That's when I knew I had to get to New York to see if I had what it took.
Well, let me ask you this, but what, did you always like doing hair?
Okay, now going back, as a little boy, I have 5 brothers, no sisters. I had one girl cousin. I used to get to her house, and she had a Barbie doll. I would just do Barbie's hair. My aunt came out and said, boys do not play with dolls. I would just have to go in, beat Barbie's hair, put her on the bed, run out the room, and she'd come out and say, I knew it was you. I do her hair now. So it was really in my spirit.
Yeah.
It's just that coming out of school, I graduated in '76, and then I was pretty smart, or I had a knack for numbers. So it was like saying, what would be the best profession to go? There weren't many blacks in accounting at the time.
That's
I
right.
was numbers, so that's what I did. But after graduating and getting almost pursuing my master's in finance, I knew that it wasn't going to make me happy. Working and then finishing a job in numbers, they didn't clap enough. All they did was the more obstacles you could overcome, the more work
they gave you. Now, that's interesting. You said they didn't clap enough.
And then when I said that, I love numbers, but they used to clap, meaning they told you how great you were. That's when you pursued numbers. But when you start to do the job, they don't expect. And then when you do, instead of them telling you how good you do, they don't do that. They say, oh my God, let's just get past this, let's get to this. And then sometimes if you don't know any better, you're making money, but you're not getting any promotions. That's what I knew that I had.
So you knew the money wasn't enough.
Well, the money could be good, but I started to realize they would give you money, but no promotion.
Yeah.
So we were from a time, and these were in the '80s.
Yeah.
So then it made me just really think, I'm an analytical, logical kind of person. Does it make sense? Can it last long? Will you be happy long?
And so you decided to just step out on faith? And
Well, the thing is, what I did, I went to hair school first, but I kept my job. And what I was able to do, I was a black guy, so I chose a white school to go to hair school. And I chose a little old lady white school.
What school did you go to?
Echeverria Institute in Atlanta, Georgia. But what I did too, they had a school called Arnold's International.
Okay.
And they were a pivot point school. That's what Sassoon taught.
What's a pivot point school?
Pivot point is Sassoon based, meaning Sassoon got his approach from pivot point. Now remember, when I started hair school in the '80s, it was more like you were trained and were trained. Now it's more like a fashion thing. So you had a point of origin, meaning your looks. Pivot point, or say Vida Sassoon, they had asymmetricals and strong lines. Now everything is with the interior moving. When Vida Sassoon started, everything was like pop, pop. Everything was that exact line.
Everything was sharp and clean.
Sharp line. So what that did, it helped me to understand from the beginning, I wanted to be an artist, not a hairdresser. I was an accountant with a professional, and I knew that I wanted to pursue this like a profession where it could still make the money and put me in a place where I still thought education has always been important. And it always kind of fight me to be smart and not notice, or to be smart and not do the best you could with it. So when I chose hair, that's what I got into. But I don't want to digress, but just saying, when I went to Paris and worked with Patrick Kelly, he was the first black man to have his collection, or the first American to have his collection at the Louvre. But the group of people that I was around, it made me realize, oh my God, this is bigger than I even thought that it could be. And these were people who were working hard, and I saw them on the runway, and then behind the scene, that's when you saw the real work. Like sometimes you think the models work on stage. It's the work that they put in before they get on stage.
Absolutely,
so it comes
absolutely.
natural. So then moving to New York, I moved here with James Harris.
I'm trying to get James on the show too.
And through that, and with Audrey Small, I was the baby in the group. And what I was taught when I first got here, do as I say, not as I do. Now, it's very hard in a place where everybody's fabulous and you come in and you're thrown into the fabulousness. I knew, and the other part is being authentic to yourself. I knew what I needed to do. And I knew just because I got with the best, I couldn't assume that I was already the best. But so often, if you're rolling with the best, you kind of take on that persona and think that you have to know that you still have to be trained. And so I call myself, I say I'm, what do you call it? You don't want to call it educated, I'm studied.
Okay, okay.
Studied is way more, so they don't give you the perception that you're trying to be too much. But like, so with the hair, I had a chance to pursue like the weave. So often we start with money, how you make money. But to start to make money is a good thing.
Right.
But you have to last. Relevancy
is
absolutely everything. Staying consistent, that's what gives you the ability to just stay in the game. Civility gives you the ability to always be nice in spite of your obstacles, to make sure that they can call you back. Sometimes maybe you haven't done your best job, but your attitude allows people to still see what you still have to offer in spite of. And in the old days, so in the old days, what they did was you were a weak link or you were a strong link. There were no middles. So like how when I came to the city, and then I'm from Atlanta, where I started with Bronner Brothers, so when I got into hair, we competed. So in competition, the way I competed to feel good, I competed for first or last place. Wherever I placed, that meant someone was better, and so
somebody
many
was
were worse.
Yeah.
But I didn't try to say, I'm just gonna try to get in to fit in. No. First place or last. But,
Let me, because the competitions fascinate me.
Yes.
How now would you say that you honed your creative side at doing the like things like the Bronner Brothers competitions and stuff?
What allowed me to do is stay connected to, lack of a better word, the black side.
Come on, church, say
the
that.
The black side. So when I got into hair, I was already thinking accounting. So I was getting ready to get my master's. I had to catch up. So when I got into hair, choosing a white school made me go back and be trained, made me go back and get from a theoretical point. And then the thing is, I'm technical, almost like saying techie, but being technical allows you to explain what you say you do. Like an artist who can paint a picture and tell you how they came from that point, and you can feel their relevance or their points of relevance. So going back to the competition, growing up or starting with hair in Atlanta, that's Bronner Brothers, the biggest black hair care trade show. Now with that, I called it, they would say ratchet, they would say ghetto. I called it edgy back then because I already knew just because it's black, some say just black, but you just say, no, that's the edgy approach. So from the Bronner showed me how to be creative. I had to come to New York to realize, no, you have to think period. Meaning I could be a fabulous artist because it could just be born inside. I could be born with it. But to take that talent and then hewn it, almost like a nice diamond, it takes a while for it to just take its time to become the perfect specimen or diamond that you need. So with the Bronner, starting there, it was almost like a natural. I love the fact of edginess and that ghetto-ness because, and I'm saying
it's creative, but I wouldn't wear most of that stuff, but it's creative.
But what Bronner did, because they were competition, you had people judging you according to their views. So you had to know, what are they judging? They're going for originality, they're going for wow factor, somebody who will make you go like this. Like sometimes the winner was the one who got this from people. not the one you just go, oh my God, that's it. Sometimes to take your breath away, you say, okay, so I see how they play. Because sometimes you have to know who you're competing with. Now, going back from Atlanta to New York, I moved to New York because the Olympics was coming to Atlanta, and I was going to move to New York to go back and give it to Atlanta. I got to New York and realized, what are you going to give them? Sit down and make this thing happen here. And what it allowed me to do is, I'm more than just that black man. I started working like in the fashion industry, but I knew from the beginning I wanted to be freelance, education, and I wanted to just be in that fashion part of it. And right now, it's like the best is yet to come because I put in my time by just being authentic to who I was, meaning learn your craft. Right now, I took a major, what I call it, a refresher course at the Dry Bar. Now, this is what my wish, or what I would say that any artist should do if you want to win. No matter how good you think you are, you need to make sure that you take another refresher course just to affirm who you are, what you are, or what you think you have.
Say that to camera 3.
What I'm saying is, in order to be the best that you are, you have to educate yourself or take refreshers just to remind you of how fierce you are or how fierce you're not. And sometimes it's just that you know what you need to know. So I did the Dry Bar. Dry Bar, it opened my mind just like with blood. If you look at 5 different vials of blood, you can't tell whether it came out the black man, the Asian man, or the Caucasian man. With hair now, it's the DNA is the same. With the Dry Bar, it allowed me to say, if you straighten hair, you can't tell if it came off the black woman, the Asian woman, or the Caucasian woman. With black hair, we always start by just assuming it's black. I gotta start here. At the Dry Bar, it allowed me to say, time is of the essence. And at the Dry Bar, everyone is done in an hour. Black girl, white girl, Spanish girl, any girl. And the point about drying, okay, the point about getting out faster is about time. So often in the ethnic salons, most of our time is in drying.
It certainly is.
You can sit under the dryer for an hour. At the Dry Bar, I am out with 2 glasses of wine in an hour. Why? Because you get into drying time, just like with your fabric. You don't have to put it in the dryer. You can put it out on the line. But so often we don't have time to sit something out all day. We want to wait and get it done in 20 minutes. We have to stop and realize. So my pursuit now and my quest for hair now is hair wellness through fashion, meaning no more compromising. It's almost like saying the laser, the knife. So often, now I'm gonna tell you this that people just don't get. In the industry now, the companies that make relaxers for black women are mostly owned by white companies.
people, I know that.
Why? Because they already know. Look at it, go to any Dwayne Reed, Rite Aid, CVS, any major drugstore. They have an aisle, a black aisle, just with relaxers, at least 30. You go and look, and if anybody go and look, I promise you, if you look on those aisles, you won't see not one relaxer box that says mild, not one. You see super, and you may find a couple regulars, but that's just like black folk with chicken, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but you don't have to fry chicken on high to get it done.
I know that's right. Let me just say this, the super, that's half the reason why I don't have any hair.
But let me tell you this too, and what we have to start to understand, do you realize it's lie? If I put relaxer on a piece of wood and just let it sit there, it'll eat its way through eventually.
And we're putting that on our
But
scalps.
remember, it was designed for it to go on and off. Now, it goes back to Malcolm X with those conks. Now, the way they used to do the conks, now I've been in this hair, but I go back when I say trained and just studied, I'm going back to say why they did what they did when they did what they did. With that conk, did you realize they had to take the skimmies? You had to almost work with 2 hands and gloves to get it on and get it off, and you were always going to fry. Now, going back to me saying the companies who own the relaxer, they already know the black woman will burn, has been burning for 20 years because she has a sensitive scalp, and will still get it done next month. And she's been getting it done every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks for sometimes 30 years. Sometimes we start in high school or college, and you don't stop until you've had a real trauma, a traumatic
Or you look like
experience.
this.
But the other point is now, what I'm trying to talk women in is understanding, find or in quest of your own true hair identity. Meaning, you have to know what's your best look. Like when I started hair school from the Acclaimed Institute, what they started was, they started with even grooming, smelling good or not smelling good. If you didn't smell good, then you stunk. If grooming, like when we're hair starts with like cosmetologists, we're a master cosmetologist. We're the only profession where we still can change the chemical structure of anything. And they call us doctors because we're actually relaxing and changing the chemical structure as if we can use a knife. My objective now is to tell a woman just so she gets it. And I'm targeting that woman who knows so much but needs information. And it's hard for her to get information because she thinks she knows so much. But I say it like this, knife or laser, which one will you get now? You would opt for laser surgery way faster than a knife, correct?
Absolutely.
With this relaxer, so often we're using creamy crack, knowing that if you use relaxer from the time from college until your 40s, you're almost guaranteed you're not going back to God with all that you have. We have to start by saying, now, when I say that, I'm just going back to say now, either you're working with me or against me. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, like with you, I'm dealing with women where I'm hair wellness. So with you, you already got it. Once you lost your hair, you got into owning your baldness, but now you can say, no, it's my balm that I keep my scalp rejuvenated and shiny. Sometimes if you have no hair, you stop and just save what you have. Like sometimes it's just like stopping in midstream, assess the situation, now go forward. I'm not saying it's this way, but I'm just saying the way I deal with hair, black women, they're so used to just knowing, I burn. Every time I get a relaxer, I burn.
So how do you get the message out? Now I know you had a salon. Do you still have your salon?
I have a wellness center. So I had a salon on Fifth Avenue, and what happened was, and it showed me that if I had known what I know now, I would have been about the business of being studied before I had a salon. Because when you have a salon, sometimes you're working trying to make your check and trying to stay relevant and trying to stay on top of your game. But you may not be in pursuit of your best you because you have to make a check.
Wow.
This is New York City. Sometimes you have to forsake yourself for the check, but sometimes you can forsake yourself for the check, but stay truly authentic to yourself. That's my blessing and my calling. So I was saying something too, and sometimes people don't get it. Sometimes you have to start with something. I'm starting by saying it's not about religious, I'm spiritual. Meaning there's a greater being and I'm in tune and in touch with it. Now all around me could be all kind of conglomerate and confusion, but I'm truly knowing that, you know what, boo-boo, you know who you are and whose you are and where you are from. Get over it. And I'm going back to civility. Sometimes you have to not let the devil know that he got your rustle.
You better come on. You better say that,
and
okay?
Then when you do let him know that he can get into your head, all sometimes you have to do, and then I have Mississippis in me, at least 4. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I can get to 5 because all I got to do is just see you getting ready to break, and I go, I weighed you out. Some have none, but when you have none or 1 or 2, if you had just 1 more, you may have won.
That's a...
So it's like, and going back to just being persistent, authentic, knowing what you have and whose you are means no matter what's around you, you have to just know that, no. And seasons, my season ahead, I didn't get it. I have to. One important thing that I want to say is that most often, or what helped me to be where I can get ready to be what I'm supposed to be is, I had love in my heart for the people before me who I saw that were getting their blessings. There was no green. I was just like saying, and sometimes you have to just, like, if you want a spouse, you got to be happy for your friends when they find theirs. So when yours comes, they can be happy, or you don't need them to tell you that they're happy for you because you already know what you have done. So my point is, sometimes you have to be happy for people who get theirs before you. Sometimes you have to know that yours will come.
Absolutely. You always have to know that.
May not be their season, and what is for you
is for you.
And if I should step into yours, guess what? He may just give me a headache. But if I stay true to mine, I may get a headache, but I know how to get through that. So with all that being said, we're in a world where people want what others have. You have to, first of all, start by knowing who I am, what do I have? Now, what can I add to this? And if you don't know who you are before you get it, you're still kind of in a bad place, like not appreciating money before you get money. And then when you
you'll
get money,
waste
you
it
go
because
crazy.
you don't know how to keep it.
But if you know what you haven't had, and then when it comes to you, you either say, do I want this forever or for a little while? Forever means relax, take a pill. Savor, like wine, savor it. Don't just swallow gup.
So tell me, I don't even cut you off, but you said something earlier. You said that now you're doing wellness centers.
So wellness center, so this is my thing. I'm targeting this, I partner with this group of 600 women, Odyssey Media. They've been in existence where they do corporate business retreats, and they've been doing this for about 18 years now, and I've been with them 15. I do the CEO, the senior VPs, and I do all of their major sponsors. But what I do is come in and I just give them a polished, camera-ready look. Now, when I say that, they do panels and stuff, and with these black, and it's a minority group of women.
Okay.
But what they did, they have me thinking like a woman. When I say that, this group of women, they come in there, and if you are powerful, you still have to have a look that makes people still want to look at you. These are powerful women who get a powerful message from a powerful woman. And then afterward, they have a, what do you call it? They just critiquing how it went. And they can say, everything was this and it was this, and I can see I'm going to make $1 million. But what was wrong with them shoes? What was wrong with this? Now, what it said was, no matter how good you think you are, you need a focus group after to see what could have done better. We're in a, so with that being said, I've been doing that for 15 years, but the past 2 years I found out how to get paid. I was trying to target the individual fabulous women. I couldn't get into their pocket, but I can get into their pocketbook at the event. But after they would come to the city, but they were so fabulous, they started treating me like I was a hairdresser instead of the professional. Now, that's true because they may see me as the hairdresser, they may not see it as important. But with me knowing that, you know what I have to do? I have to pull away and not be available to make you realize, oh my God, you're way more. So at the conference, they started having boot camps. Now with the boot camps, these were individual women, but they started bringing in their teams. With their teams they were bringing in, they had questionnaires where they would say, why are you bringing in your team? Sometimes people bring in teams just to make sure that the team gets a chance to just see how they can like each other. Because sometimes at work, you work. I don't like you. I'm work. Sometimes as a team, you have to get together as a retreat. In a retreat to realize, how do we learn how to wind down? No work today. We're learning how to sit back and talk to you about what's going on in your life. So when we get back to work, we have more that binds us than pulls us apart. So going back to that, with the corporate woman and me saying, that I got a chance to still see how do you partner and make money. I'm going in their boot camps, and all these women, they have to have a distinctive, polished corporate look. It's not enough to be smart. You have to look smart.
Yeah.
It's not enough to look smart. You have to be smart. And then you have, like, I'm going back to civility and protocol. It's not enough to look good, and then when you open your mouth, something comes across that kind of makes me go, ooh, what's going on? That don't match. So with that, I'm targeting the corporate dollar because they have money. Like at the Essence Festival and any festival, they have suites that is strictly designed. They have a makeup suite, a hair suite, a miscellaneous suite. They just have jewelry where all this people just come in and grab stuff. I'm saying there should be, and a lot of women want teas. Like they used to do the Tupperware parties and the lingerie parties and the jewelry parties. Now they're calling, if you have a book, you should have a book and you should have somebody like me to come through and we talk just polished looks, owning your own hair, getting in touch with your own texture. Sometimes you have to know what is for you is for you. So a good example, black women. Normally they know what they want and they don't care what it takes to get there. I'm starting with curly natural hair, but I want this straight colored, wonderful look. White women, I'm just saying, normally if they have curly hair, they pick a style that is curly. If they have short hair, fine hair, they pick a style that's that. Sometimes you have to say, if you have to work hard to get to that point every day, you picking a hard battle.
Yeah.
Like curling irons, most black girls, they have to burn face at least 5 times, not 2 times.
Ooh, yeah,
Why?
you get that little burn mark
And
here,
you know,
here.
you pick the style that you already know.
Here.
I've got to get up in the morning and plug up my curling iron.
Right.
So my thing is with the corporate and with the boot camp, I'm targeting that woman, trying to see, how can I get there? That woman where time is really her main enemy. She got no time. All I do is take time away, and she starts to love me. Take time by making you understand what's your best look. What's the look that's your go-to look? Like, there is a dress that you have that you already know. If it's called that business dress, you know that suit. If it's called that sexy, you know that dress. You have to have that one go-to number. Now, from there.
Because I got a question for you. So you're trying to, it sounds to me like you are literally trying to reverse years and years and years of thinking, of wrong thinking.
So let me tell you what I'm doing to make it easier. I'm taking that woman where I already know, just like an amen or not an amen. In church, it means if you're in agreement, you amen. If you're not in agreement, you just sit there. Pastor, I'm still waiting. And sometimes when the pastor thinks he should have got an amen, and he didn't, he go, hold up, I think you missed it, let me go back. What I'm saying is, I'm going in there starting by saying, owning your own identity. What is your hair? What's your true hair type? And do you realize most black women think we all have textured hair, but there are different types of texture.
Yes, there is.
There's different types of types of hair in your textures and different types of textures in your type. So if you have sisters, sometimes you can have, all y'all have the same type of hair, but she has real dense hair, you have the fine hair. She has the body for curl, you have this. Sometimes you have to already know that you have hair that, a good example. Easter. Most black girls learn early what they love and they can't get out their head. Just like a baby. If you give a baby at 3 months old a lollipop, that baby already like candy, and that baby gonna be craving candy. If you never give a baby candy, guess what that baby will eat? That baby probably eat their vegetables, will love water. If you give a baby Coca-Cola. So going back there's so many black women who had to start by not having money to do your hair. So you may have learned a bad habit. And once we learn bad habits, it's harder to break a bad habit than to make a new habit, a new good habit. So with that being said, I'm not talking her in or out of anything. What I'm doing is giving her information to make her give me an amen. What your mama used on you when you were young, she already know. Easter, I go back to Easter. Some girls had to get their hair done, and on Sunday morning, some of the babies could sleep later. That one special, she had to get up early. Come in here, because they already knew, right around here. Her baby hair gonna be doing like this. Hey, come on in here. The other girl, her hair may last. And remember, we use things going back to like the conch and stuff. They use things like paper bag. What did that paper bag do? It allowed them, when they were done with Easter, they take your hair, wrap it, tie it knot to the paper bag. But what that did was, you had curls until next Sunday.
Yes, sir.
But
yes,
some
you
of
did.
the babies, your curls didn't last after the Easter egg hunt that Sunday.
Okay, you know what? I can get ready to
But
stop.
I'm saying, because it's called Easter, because you know which one you were. And that baby, all she had was this. This was gone. But she was holding on, and she had to 5. When you see a baby doing like this, she don't even know no better, and she doing like this. That means that baby knows she got crying. How many babies did not cry? And I'm saying things like this, telling women, if you burn and you know you burn, you have to start by saying, when am I going to stop getting an operation that makes me pay for it?
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because we're almost out of time.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're just about out of time. I know you hear the music, so I just want to thank my guest, Johnny Gentry, for sharing his industry knowledge with us today. Now, before I go, as always, I got to leave you with a few thoughts. I want you to, 1, remember that you can't change the game until you first learn the game. 2, always surround yourself with positive people and positive things. 3, do what you love and love what you do. And lastly, be who you are, but be who you are tastefully. Always have some class about yourself. Now, don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Thanks for watching Model Behavior, and I'll see you guys next week. Class is officially dismissed. Bye, y'all.